Excellent connection. All right, good night to everyone out in YouTube land. Of course, starting off by saying good night, because that's how we greet each other in the islands. Um, Basically, oh, hold on one second. All right, so good night to everyone. Let me see if I could go ahead and get the chat going and everything like that. Yeah, so anyone, if you like to chat with me, you could just put anything you want to chat about in the chat, and we can go from there. I hope everyone had a good day so far. Who's on the live right now? And I can just wait to see if a couple more people join before getting into the discussion for tonight. So about, I guess, at 5 minutes past, I'll start. And to start off the conversation, I don't know if anyone have any questions to start off the conversation at this moment. I did get at least 3 questions that I'll touch on in the live stream tonight. I'm glad that you guys can actually join us for the live, join me for the live tonight. All right, today was a sunny day. The past, let's see, the past 4 days have actually been pretty much sunny. And then when it comes down to about 7 o'clock in the afternoon, we always get a shower. So I guess that's the blessings we get in showers are blessings in the afternoon to end off the day. All right, yeah. So what's up to Robert? What's up, Robert? How you doing up there in Pennsylvania, up in PA? How's the weather up there? It started getting cold as yet? Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can ask questions there. It's fine. All right, and to hopefully we can have some Virgin Islanders join the live. Basically, I started off the channel um, right after COVID. I lost my job due to COVID. I was doing IT for one of the jewelry stores, which is basically which had different stores throughout the Caribbean, beginning from all the way up in Key West, Florida, all the way down to Curacao and Aruba. So there were different stores that I used to go to and work at, and as of COVID, there was no work to do. So I didn't have anything to do. I'd already had a drone. I used to go flying my drone over the different beaches and parts of the island that I've never been to before. And then when I lost my job, I basically started going on Google Maps to try to suss out, basically use satellite imagery to figure out how to get to some of those beaches. And I ended up taking up my GoPro camera with me, and the rest is history. At a certain point, I ended up asking any of my viewers who lived on the island to just go ahead and come along with me, whoever wanted to join me on my hikes to the different beaches and so forth. And as of doing that, ended up starting a hiking group and so forth, which is the 340 hikers. And so that's where it is right now. As you see, at least once a month we go out on different hikes, which I always try to showcase on the channel. So at least once a month you would see a video dealing with us going out on some of the hikes. Of course, as you know, Christmas is coming up. This is going to be, I guess, the first Christmas we're going to be able to do things not being on lockdown. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying. So I'll really enjoy taking you guys around on the channel with my GoPro camera and sharing y'all with y'all even live some of the things that go on around Christmas time and so forth. All right, because the islands definitely do come alive around Christmas time. Christmas and Carnival time is like some of the best times to come and visit the island because there's a lot of stuff to do. So basically, that's something I'm looking forward to. You guys can look forward to in the coming months or next month, being that it'll be Christmas time down here. All right. Let me see if anybody asks any question as yet. The person who's saying their friend Joe recommended. No, I can't say that I know Joe off the top of my head. And so I'll actually get into one of the first questions that was asked. Someone was asking me basically what would be like the trade-off, or what would be the pros and cons of staying at an Airbnb versus a hotel. And for me, well, actually, the one thing that happened during the pandemic was, of course, the hotels couldn't be at full capacity. I think they were limited to about a little over half capacity, 50% capacity. So like, let's say 60% capacity. And so that gave the opportunity for the Airbnbs to take off. But it ended up being kind of a bad thing for a lot of locals who were renting here, because running an Airbnb, you obviously make more money. Like, let's say, for example, I'm renting my one bedroom for $1,000 a month. If this place where I'm renting, for example, was turned into an Airbnb, I could rent that out basically for $1,000 per week or even more. You understand? And so end up making $4,000 versus $1,000 a month. A lot of apartment owners ended up kicking out their tenants, unfortunately, and actually ended up turning their apartments into Airbnbs. And so because of that, a lot of people lost out. And there are a lot of people right now, it's very hard to find an apartment, even for a decent price here in the Virgin Islands. And so the kind of same thing happened over in St. Croix as well too, because they opened up for a certain amount of time the oil refinery over there. And a lot of people who were coming in, the oil refinery brought a lot of employees in to live on the island. And these employees, with their salary, they were able to pay the high prices that was being made available, or that the people were charging for rentals over there. But the local person who was living there, on the salaries that they get, average of $30K a year, weren't able to afford those apartments. So that was kind of like a bad thing. So I would say it's better to actually go to the hotels itself to rent out there. But of course, if you do want your privacy and so forth, of course, by all means, do go to an Airbnb. I mean, there's no way of telling which Airbnb just recently opened and probably kicked out their tenant. But as I would like to mention, the thing that I would suggest for people to do is actually to go to stay at one of the hotels. That's what it's for. And but if you want your privacy, by all means, go ahead and do the Airbnb as well. I was seeing a question down there where someone was asking about the farmers market. Yeah, the farmers market here on the island. First of all, there's a market that takes place every Saturday downtown Charlotte Amalie. And then there are different people who actually have vegetable stands, fruit and vegetable stands in different areas on the island. There's an official farmers market on the western end of the island where I live. They basically open on the second and last Sundays of every month to have an official big farmers market where the local farmers come out and they sell their produce and so forth. And you could go there. Over on St. Croix, there is the same fairgrounds where they have the agricultural fair every year. You can go over there as well. Every Saturday, they're there. The local farmers are there selling their food and so forth. So you could definitely go there and end up purchasing local produce and so forth at the farmers market on either island on Saturdays and so. And then you could also visit the many vegetable stands that do have on the islands, both St. Croix, St. Thomas, and I believe St. John too. I'm not sure of any of the stands on St. John or what typically would be the farmers market over on St. John, but I wouldn't doubt that they actually do have something like that, like a little farmers market of spot you could go most likely on Saturdays to buy local produce and vegetables and so forth. All right. Let me see. I have Cushion stating that he is from St. Thomas originally, and he's been in New York for 9 years. And he's asking, how's the economy right now? Well, when the state has midterm elections, we have elections for governor down here. The governors go in for terms of 4 years, and the governor just got voted in, so he'll be in for another 4 years. I guess that's saying that the people have spoken and they like how he ran things for the last 4 years. One thing I do have a pet peeve. I have to talk about the roads. I feel I can only speak of what I have seen. I've only seen the roads starting to get fixed within the last year that he was running for re-elections. So, I mean, that's something that the government is supposed to do anyway. They get federal funding. The roads, majority of the roads here in the Virgin Islands are federal highways, and they get federal funding from that. So my question is going to be why we don't see the roads being fixed all year round. Because the main thing is, like, there are a lot of potholes here. It rains, and I would like to even suggest that they have, like, people who go out every time we have heavy rains, or like those days when we have like a whole day where it rains, that the Department of Public Works probably sends out some people like the next day, first of all, to see if they could clear off the debris, see which roadways probably would need the grass cut back, because whenever it rains, like that next week, is like the grass just grows exponentially. So it'll be good if they could send out crews the next day to check out the roadways and everything, make sure they're clean and clear. Also check for new potholes which may have developed, because that constant runoff from the rain that's running off and so forth basically starts eroding away the roadways. And so before you know it, I mean, you could be driving on the road today and tomorrow there's a big pothole that was like, that pothole wasn't there yesterday. You want to know where it comes from. And some of them go from like zero to like the biggest thing in a matter of time. So it would be nice if we could basically have, the government could basically have people going out and checking the roadways all the time and so forth. All right, moving to the next question. Someone's asking, does St. Croix have a records/administrative office that a person could visit to look for family members from the 1900s? Off the top of my head, I'll have to say no. However, we do have, not St. Croix specifically, but the Virgin Islands Historical Society, which you possibly could check up with, because of course, due to colonization and so forth, they did have records going back all the way back to the times when the islands were colonized by the different European countries and so forth, and they did have records, and some of those records are still there. I think, matter of fact, I think there's like an Office of Vital Records. I think that's what the name of it is. I'm not sure if it's under Historical or Department of Health, but one of them basically should have some form of record keeping, which I think you can find out. But I don't know what the number is for the government agencies as such. I know they're actually in the phone book, but yes, we still do get the phone books. So I'll suggest possibly, when last I checked, I think the phone company Innovative did have like an online telephone book, so hopefully they do have it still. You could type in Google and see Innovative telephone book for the Virgin Islands, and hopefully you could go through the government listings and find an office which will you could call and hopefully get some information that you're actually looking for. Okay. Um, Next question from Zay. How would you compare living St. Thomas and St. Thomas to St. Croix? Um, I don't know if you've seen one of my other videos, which I actually state St. Croix is my favorite island. I'll compare the three islands. You know what I'm saying? People always ask which one would I recommend. I'm like, it's up to you. If you want the party life and a lot of activities, come to St. Thomas. And you have a lot of activities here. If you want pure rest and relaxation, go to St. John. Over 70% of the island is reserved as a national park, and it's very quiet and so forth and serene. You can stay over there at one of the Airbnbs or one of the hotels, whatever, and enjoy pure rest and relaxation. And if you want a pleasant mixture of both, a little bit of party life, you have two cities. They call the slang name for St. Croix is Twin City, because they do have two cities, Frederickstead and Christiansted, and both of them have different clubs and little night clubs and bars and nice little spots you can go to. You can pick your poison, whichever you want, which city you want to hang out with. You can hang out in a different city each night and so forth. I spent my birthday weekend over in St. Croix and I enjoyed it. I spent 3 or 4 days over there, and it was very enjoyable. As I said, I enjoyed more of the rest and relaxation side. Somebody even mentioned off of seeing the video that in the background they noticed they didn't see much people around, and that's how it is, and that's how I do like it also. I was able to go out and you don't see, the only time you see much hustle and bustle is when they have the cruise ships in. And this past week, I think last week, they actually saw two cruise ships in at the Frederickstead Pier. And I mean, St. Croix was alive. They had traffic jam can done. If you had to go anywhere, you had to make sure you left like 2 hours early just to go there and so forth. But as I said, it's a nice even balance over in St. Croix. And then when it comes to St. Thomas is more lively and a lot of movement and everything like that. As I said, St. John and St. Croix, St. John more so is for the rest and relaxation. All right, so moving on. I see my computer is telling me that the stream rate is slowing down a little bit, but hopefully y'all can still hear me and so forth. Okay, next question up. Let's see. Hi to Soroya Mantilla. I guess hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. From Puerto Rico, watching from Puerto Rico. Okay, Nathan Brathwaite did mention that there's a recorder of deeds. That may actually be the office that you could get that information from. It's part of the Lieutenant Governor's office. All right, thanks for that information, Nathan. All right, thank you once again to Three Angels. I love what I do, man, and I love bringing you guys along with me, the different places. I mean, the Virgin Islands is where I grew up, and I moved back after living 13 years in Atlanta. I went up there for school, for college, and I always had a longing to move back home. And I would love to see many other Virgin Islanders move back home too, as I've said a couple times on my different vlogs. Of course, because the way the economy is, it makes it very hard because the jobs that you would get down here don't pay that well. And we're just hoping that the government could even set up some kind of thing that would help. I think it's best for us to even move back down as entrepreneurs. Just move back down and open a business. There are still so many areas and so many businesses that could still be open up here on either one of the three islands and so forth. So I would even suggest, once again, just looking for where there's opportunity. I just call them opportunities, and come down and start a business, whatever opportunity that is and so forth. And hopefully it's something that's in line with what you love doing as well. Let's see. Kush is asking, Kush Gould asking if I'll be live streaming for St. Croix Carnival. I'm hoping to. My job actually puts me on all three islands, and hopefully I could work out things where I could get up to get me doing some work over there on St. Croix around that time. And provided once I'm on island, man, I'll definitely be hitting up as much of the events over there as possible. As I mentioned over here on St. Thomas, the one thing that I know I'll be here for, because Benny D, who you've seen me do some of the bike rides with, Illuminate bike rides, where we ride through the cities, either downtown Charlotte and Mali and St. Thomas, or downtown Frederiksted and St. Croix. He has a bike ride that's going on I think it's the second weekend or the third weekend in December. And so last time he did it like 2 months apart, but this time he's doing it the same weekend. Like, I think the Friday night is the bike ride over here, and then the Saturday night or the Sunday night, I think it's the Saturday night, is the bike ride over on St. Croix. So I think that's around the 17th and 18th. So I won't be able to make both this year. I'll definitely be able to do the St. Thomas bike ride. And I think that same weekend also is actually going to be the Miracle on Main Street. So I'll see how everything plays out and stuff for sure. I definitely want to catch some of the action that'll be going on downtown around Christmas time for Miracle on Main Street, and also going over to St. Croix. St. Croix, I believe this is going to be their first carnival since COVID. So everybody's looking forward to that, number one. Number two, I believe this is their 70th year of celebrating carnival. So it's going to be basically a big event in two perspectives, so to say, based on the fact that they haven't had carnival in 2 years and they want to get a jump up on. And then they also will be celebrating the 70th year of carnival over on the island of St. Thomas. So that's another reason why I would like to be there and cover the event. Anything happening in the Virgin Islands, I would love to cover it. There are a lot of things I don't even get to do. It's only just me. I wish I could split up myself and catch some of the events that do take place in the Virgin Islands. So, in even talking about that, there was a guy who flew in here. He's a native Virgin Islander. He went away. He took flight school. I think he was in the Air Force as well, and he's now flying commercially for American Airlines. So I just want to say big ups to him. I don't have his name available right now. It was in an article in the papers and also on VI Consortium the other day. So I just want to say big ups to him. I have a name I want to say, I think is his name, but I don't want to say it in case I call the wrong name. But I just want to say big ups to him. VI to the world, man. You know what I mean? We flying in and out of this place, you know what I'm saying? He probably might be flying you in on your next flight coming down here. So I just want to say he flew in. He was the co-pilot flying in the plane from, I think it was from Florida down to St. Thomas the other day. And they had a big fanfare and everything with the fire trucks spraying the water and everything like that in honor of him coming down and like his inaugural flight down to St. Thomas. So that was real nice. As I say, I love my VI people, man, and I love to see us doing big things all the way. So definitely, I just want to say big ups, and I want to give mentions to anytime we see VI people doing big stuff, man. My boy Benny D, I want to talk to Benny D about doing some stuff to showcase him also, man. Because a lot of people don't even know Benny G is actually the official DJ for. Why am I drawing a blank right now? I say I have convict music on my mind, but why? Oh, Akon. Okay, there we go. He's the official DJ for Akon. A lot of people don't know that, but there's so many popular and well-known. People don't even know you may know of them, but you don't even know that they're from the VI. But we internationally know, man. So all over the place, so you'd be surprised to come to find out, you know what I mean? Certain people you knew of this whole long time is actually from the VI, man. So yeah, we definitely want to big up the VI, man. St. Thomas, St. John, you know what I mean? St. Croix, even Little Water Island, you know what I'm saying? They get a little piece of the pie too. So VI is where we live, man. We love the VI, especially when we go away, man. We meet another Virgin Islander. It'll be so weird. I went to to a museum with a child of mine's. It was like what do you call that thing? I went to a museum with a child of mine's, and I saw a girl, which I remember for way back, it had been like 20 years now. She went to Eudorican High School, and I was like, wait, you from St. Thomas? I remember her face and all, even though we didn't go to the same school. And she was like, yeah, and you'll be surprised, even though we are away. You know what I'm saying? That we from these small little, when you add it up, probably 120 something square miles, you know what I mean, in totality. you'll still find somebody from the VI no matter where you go. So it's wonderful, man. We are proud people. We love our heritage, and we love doing big things, man. So big ups to you guys wherever you may be. If you guys are Virgin Islanders living abroad and you haven't been back in a while, try and make it your thing to come back. Make a good effort to come back next year. Hopefully, I mean, put away that little $25 per paycheck. So by summer next year, or even by Carnival next year, April next year, you're able to come down and enjoy the time down here. Okay, so God, we miss y'all, man. The islands miss you. I know you miss the VI cup. This is why I do the channel, because I remember how it was when I was going to college. When I was away for those 13 years living in Atlanta, I literally only came back like twice. And that's sad, you know what I'm saying? Twice in 13 years. And another friend of mine's classmate, who you may have seen on my channel, I think this was her second time coming back also, since graduating high school and so forth and living here and moving away. She only got to come back this was her second time she was able to come back. So this is why I do the things that I do on the channel, because I remember how it was. YouTube wasn't that big at that time, and they definitely didn't have no local YouTuber from the Virgin Islands who was going around and showing the different things, you know what I mean, that we normally would be missing and so forth. So it's a wonderful thing, man, that I could do what I'm doing and share with you guys the different things that's going on in the Virgin Islands while we're away. So Melvin talking about bigging up the Cookie Point, man, Cookie Point Beach. Yeah, man, a lot of times, and as I said, being on YouTube, a lot of people have reached out to me, asked me to give them tours or to help them set up different things when they come down and so forth, and I've went ahead and done that. And Cookie Point Beach is always where I would recommend we go. You have to go if you stay down here, like let's say you come down for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Make sure one of those days you hit up Cookie Point Beach, man. That's a place to be, man. Party hardy, especially on a Sunday afternoon, man. Cookie Point Beach is a spot to be. It's lively, it's lively, it's lively. You got a little bit of everything out there, and it's beautiful. The water is nice and clear, and so forth. Let me tell you a secret. Wait, tell you a secret. You know, I didn't go to Cookie Point Beach. The first time I went to Cookie Point Beach is after moving back down here in 2010. And the reason being, my mom didn't like Cookie Point Beach. That was like her least favorite beach. She was scared because Cookie Point beaches, they have coral world out there, and it is set up to where a lot of the fish come in close and so forth. And there's a big drop off. As you go out, it just drops off suddenly, and it gets really deep. And it's good. You always see the boats, the yachts, some of the boats come in there a lot too, and anchor and so forth. But because of that, my mom was like, "Oh, it's a scary beach. The kids get drunk or whatever." So when I was a child, we never went to Cookie Point. But you best believe me, from the first time I went, I keep on going. I love to go out to Cookie Point Beach now, man, because it's live and in effect, man. It's always lively out there when we go. Even sometimes going and staying out there late in the night on a Sunday night or Saturday night, you know what I'm saying, when the DJ is playing and so forth, it's nice. You're still in the water and everything, man. It's a vibe. That's all I can say. It's a vibe, definitely. So bigging up Cookie Point and everything like that, man. Definitely. Let me see who else have comments or questions. Thanks once again, Boosted. And Roger, he said Megan's Bay for Sunday. He said that's a party beach with a family. Yep, reminiscing, but going down there on Sundays also. Megan's Bay. I was telling somebody, usually when I take people out on tours and we go up to Mountain Top and we looking down over the bay. And I always tell people I'm a church boy. Okay, I was raised as a preacher's kid. But I just say I was born in a baptismal. I was born in church basically. So we didn't take part in any carnival activities or anything like that. Come carnival, we used to go down on the beach. Most likely, a lot of churches used to be down on the beach for that carnival Saturday, the Saturday for adult parade. You know what I mean? No, you know what I mean? Like giving away and telling everybody. everybody who local don't know about Naked Beach, all right? So around a certain time of day, all the youth man them used to disappear, you know. All the parents them like wondering where my son gone, but it's a big beach, a mile long, you know what I mean? But you must know it's one place we were going over to Naked Beach, trying to see what we could see. But that's a part. There's a little beach that's off where you got to climb over the rocks to get to it, basically. And all man used to disappear around that time. But that's the one memory I have. Honestly, you know what I mean? But going down to and people ask if it still exists. It does still exist, but people don't really use it like that no more. I was finding out through a video I was even watching. There is one over in St. Martin too. That one is very popular and so forth. But the one over here is not that popular as how it used to be back in the days anymore. But most people, yeah, Naked Island. I just say Naked Island. So every man, we have so much memories, man, growing up in the islands and so forth, man. And it's always a vibe when you come back and so forth, going to the places you used to go. Even when certain songs play, you know what I mean? I go tell my age now when I talk about the club Nicky D's, right? When certain reggae songs play, man, you know it'll take you back, man. You always get these nostalgic feelings and so forth, man. But once again, it was a vibe, definitely. And not to mention like Club Z, which the youth man them definitely don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? It used to be a vibe, definitely. One of the Hurricanes took out Club Z, man, and after that, they were gone. But Westline used to play up there every weekend, man. Once again, growing up in the VI was a vibe. It definitely was a vibe. Yeah, Roger saying Old Mill for him. Old Mill, yeah. Old Mill is a church now. But see, people don't know, man. People don't know for them days, man. That's why I love being on with you guys here today and so forth. Just reminiscing and so forth and talking about life in the Virgin Islands and inviting people to come down here and enjoy life or enjoy your vacation here in the Virgin Islands. Because it's honestly definitely a vibe. We had today was a 5 cruise ship day. Well, no, it's a 4 cruise ship day, sorry. Because I'm accustomed to seeing 2 cruise ships and at Crombie also. So there were 3 ships in at Waiko Dock, and then down at Crombie we had just 1 ship in the Queen Mary 2. So it was busy, a busy day. Usually when it's busy like that, I try not to go uptown. I try my best not to go uptown. So that's another thing. Traffic they get really, really bad on the cruise ship days. So if you don't have to go out, if it's not necessary for you to go into town like that, don't go into town when we have those anything above 3 cruise ships and up. Yeah, it'll get pretty crazy. Talking about that, the roads and so forth. There's one thing which is kind of like a pet peeve of mine. Now, when you're coming down, we drive on the left, as everybody would know. I guess that's one of the things they never decided to change. They decided not to change since the U.S. took over the islands in 1917. And one thing, if you come in, just know this here. Okay, in the States, you drive on the right. When you hear an emergency vehicle coming, you pull to the right. Okay? So it's simple. When you come down here and you have emergency vehicle coming up the road and you're driving a Renti or whatever, just pull to the left. You don't go to the right. Because I just see people getting confused down here now. Whenever emergency vehicle come in, they have to honk the horn. They have to say, move up, pull to the left, pull to the left. Because there are people pulling to the right, people pulling to the left. It's like a whole bunch of confusion. So I'm just sharing this here too. One little thing, you know what I'm saying? When you come down here, because we drive on the left, you just pull to the left instead. And also, just like in the States, it's okay to make a right turn on red. Down here at the intersections, it's okay to make a left turn on red unless indicated to do otherwise. If it says stop here on red, then you stop there on red. But otherwise, if it's not indicated that you stop there, you can make a left turn on red down here. So just sharing that with you for those of you who might come down here and want to drive. There's an option to that is a question that has been asked to me by some tourists who are interested in coming down here. Like, is it better to rent a car or better to catch a taxi? Honestly, it would be better to rent a car because you have more control of where you go in and when you go in, and you ain't gotta wait on anyone. Um, and because the taxis could get pretty expensive, because on average it'll be like 10 to $20 per person, especially if you want to go out in the night and go here, there, and everywhere. Unless you're staying at some place which is on the bus route or the Safari or Dallas Safari route, and then you could get around by just you paying $4 a day, and you could go from one end of the island to the next on $4. That's if you're on the Safari route, and they don't really run like after 7 o'clock. Okay, so but otherwise you will have to pay a taxi to take you like around. Like if you're staying downtown and you want to go out to the Red Hook area, like $20, $30 round trip and so forth. All right, so just wanted to mention that there. Melvina talking about the food, DJ bar, late grown folks for sure. Yeah, oh that cookie point. Let me see. After 5, Megan's Bay is yes. They come with the colored by Melvina. Yeah, I don't know, but the only time it'll be the after 5 is if I go to run into exercise, and talking about I gotta get back in there too. But as you have to see, per the one video I did, waterfront is beautiful. The new part, we getting ready. They're slated to start working on the original part of the waterfront and upgrading it so all of it look congruent or more or less look the same. And so we're definitely looking forward to that becoming a reality right now, because it looking half and half, it looking kind of bipolar, you know what I mean? Well, it's kind of good because see the direction the tourists them to be coming from on a taxi to get where they have to stay, they see the old part first and then they see the new part, you know what I mean, of the waterfront on St. Thomas. So it'll definitely be like an eye-opener. It'll look really nice, you know what I'm saying? So when you're driving up there, as I said, hopefully it doesn't take much longer than how they took to do the first part of the well, I guess it would be the Veterans Highway, and get the whole thing completed and looking real nice by the time it's done, said and done. Because apparently what little problem they have seemed to resolve it now, and they're ready to move ahead. In talking about that, I don't know if y'all have seen the clips or pictures of Vendors Plaza, which used to be known to tourists them as Tent City, with the blue tarps and so forth. They used to be there with the local vendors selling their items and so forth. They actually getting an upgrade to Vendors Plaza, where the government went ahead and they got them some little kiosk, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word, where they will be selling their items for the foreseeable future. But they're still being built out. I'm not sure on an ETA when it'll be done. Hopefully it could be done even by Christmas time, so by early next year, or even, as I say, January, New Year's, they'll be able to be selling. The vendors will be able to be selling from their new kiosk there by the Vendors Plaza. All right. I don't see any other questions coming in right now. Let me see if I could go back to some of my comments. I think I've mentioned everything so far. I even talk about the roads, the state of the roads and so forth, and the fact that I think they could actually be fixed up. The last video that I posted 2 days ago was actually in regards to the education here in the Virgin Islands. So as I mentioned, ever since it's slowly been deteriorating. Education in the Virgin Islands, as I made in my final suggestion, if you were to move down here with children, I'll suggest putting them in private school. If they're older in high school, yeah, you could put them, and to save yourself some money too, you could put them in the public school as well, because the public schools do have some decent programs, depending, especially if they want what, I guess, area or career they want to go into. But as I say, it's like a trade-off. So that would depend heavily if you have somebody who's in secondary school, what area or field they want to go into when they graduate high school. I'll suggest that will play a very important point in when they are actually graduating, and when you're actually making the decision as to which school to put them in. Depending what career path they want to take, that will make a big difference. Okay, excellent question. How's the crime rate? I have to say it's gone down somewhat on St. Thomas, but gone up on St. Croix. Of course, it's all, no matter where you are, crime is always based on the economy and how jobs are. If people who are unemployed, if the unemployment rate in a particular place is high, yeah, then you're gonna see a lot of crime. It's always, no matter where you go, it's always gonna be like a trade-off. If the unemployment rate is high, then crime will be high, obviously. So crime in St. Thomas ain't been that bad. It's just been, every time I look at the news, especially on St. Thomas, it's just a whole bunch of domestic disputes. Last time, the last thing I read, and this was so funny, I really felt that it was kind of ghetto, you know what I mean, for them to put it in the news. The last domestic dispute was actually over the fact that the man was there cooking or whatever, and a partner of his came and asked him, somebody come to ask him to walk on a car or something like that, and he was like, he can't do, he cooking right now or whatever, and basically he tell the man them that his girl can't cook, and she didn't like that at all, and fight gun, you know what I mean? So it's really funny the stuff that be happening on here. It's domestic, mainly domestic disputes I've been seeing lately. Back in the days, it was really bad. There was a time when it was really bad. Over on St. Croix, it's still kind of bad, as I was mentioning, because the employment rate is much, unemployment is higher over there as well, and they don't have that many jobs. And then um, the oil refinery closed down again, so it's only being used, I think, as a storage facility. So whenever the oil refinery is open, man, that's another thing too. St. Croix is hustling and bustling. St. Croix is hustling and bustling. But whenever the oil refinery closed down, it's always, once again, the crime rate goes up, and they don't have much stuff to do. As the old people say the devil find work for idle hands to do. So I guess the idle hands, they get to work doing all kind of nefarious activities. So basically, that's where we see a rise in crime taking place and so forth. I rarely hear about crime on St. John. If you do hear something, it's usually a domestic dispute or whatever like that. But St. Thomas and St. Croix, which are the two, the larger of the three islands, you do see, as I would say, unfortunately, a little bit more crime taking place over on the island of St. Croix. All right, but it is our islands. We hope to keep the crime rate down so we can have the tourists and so forth coming in. One thing I would like to see, I'd like to, hopefully the Virgin Islands government could reach out to hopefully the Virgin Islands government could reach out to the U.S. Navy to start bringing in their sailors again, because man, back in the days it was very lucrative for the sailors to come in here for R&R. But of course, you may or may not know there are several crimes that took place that were targeting the sailors. And at a certain point, the U.S. Navy was like, that's it. We're not going to the Virgin Islands no more for R&R, because one of their sailors ended up dying, getting shot and killed for some money. That's, you know what I mean? That was whack. So it's been years since they've been gone. So hopefully we can revisit that and get some viable means of income coming back in. All right. So just wanted to touch on that. That's something that I hope to speak. I know next time I rub shoulders with the governor, I could mention to him that we could probably try. You know what I'm saying? Or even people in tourism try to get the sailors back in again and so forth. All right. Another person said my daughter wants to know. Hold on. No, there was something. Oh, my Roger was saying my daughter wants to talk about WAPA and their problem. In the papers, I think it was last week, Wednesday papers, WAPA came out and they mentioned that they, beginning next month, which is going to be December, which is next week basically, or this week rather, the end of this week, they're going to have to start shedding current, so rotating current, I guess from feeder to feeder, and that's because they had a deal with a company called Vital or something like that, Unfortunately, I actually was a voice in one of the commercials for them. So most of my partner who knows my voice ended up calling me and saying, how much they pay you? But this was years ago, man, almost 10 years ago. WAPA came up with this idea for us to go to natural gas. It's a company out of, I want to say originally Puerto Rico. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. But anyhow, it was supposed to bring in the natural gas, and we were supposed to see the cost per kilowatt hour drop immensely. We are, including the United States and the territories, we are one of the highest places per kilowatt hour. I think it's about 30 something cents per kilowatt hour that we have to spend on a regular compared to other places in the state. When this guy told me, I think he lives up in Utah, he paying 7 cents per kilowatt hour because I saw his bill. I was like, what? But then I saw how much he paid, and it was like nothing. 7 cents per kilowatt hour compared to us paying probably, close to 37 cents per kilowatt hour. That's not sustainable at all. That's not good at all. And then once again, our jobs here don't pay that much. So as I was saying, WAPA is looking to start shedding current, and due to the fact that they're way behind, they're way in arrears for paying this company for the natural gas. So we have some natural gas generators and some fossil fuel generators. So we're going to be dependent mainly on the fossil fuel generators for the foreseeable future. I, of course, if you saw my one video saying goodbye to WAPA, ain't really have to worry about that because I have as a backup solar panels and batteries which store up the power during the day. And then even if like I have a rainy day, I don't need to use the solar panels. They can actually charge from WAPA. So when WAPA is on, the batteries could charge up from WAPA as well. And then when WAPA go off, it has enough charge to last during the time that the power will be gone. So that's what I was suggesting for people to get. They have many different devices now that you could get that would store power and batteries that you could use in the event of a power outage. And most power outages last, the longest I think is about probably 3 to 6 hours. You know what I'm saying? So these devices could actually carry you over for that time. So that's why I would suggest that people do. I think the most popular one that I saw online, I think is, I can't remember the name of it right now, but there's something going on in the States with a lot of people sleeping in their cars, and most people, I've seen them buying it. There's a particular brand that's most popular that people buy. It's a little black box basically that people buy, and they have it in their car, and they could store up power on it. It could even charge with a solar panel, and you have power while power is gone. So I can't remember the name. I'll see if I can put it in the description later on. If you could come back and look at the description of that device that you could use. That's the more popular one, excuse me. All right. Let's see. My daughter wants to know. Let's see. What do you guys feel of the children from the VI native that haven't been home since it was a child? Once again, we invite everyone to come back down and enjoy or learn about the Virgin Islands. One of the questions that I did get asked recently within this past week was someone wants me to do videos on the history of the Virgin Islands. So I'm going to do an island in each video. I'm going to do the history of St. Thomas, the history of St. John, the history of St. Croix as well. And I guess with St. Thomas, I'll add in the history of Water Island, because Water Island was actually used as a military base all the way till 1996. And then they finally turned it over. It was under the Department of Interior, and the Department of Interior turned it over to the U.S. Virgin Islands government in 1996. And so there's a good bit of history about that too. There were experiments, all kind of things going on that we don't even know probably what going on, you know what I'm saying, in our backyard. We don't even know what the government was really doing over there. So some scary stuff that even been going on, they experimented on all kind of things. We didn't even know this was going on. But that's all in the history of the Virgin Islands and so forth that a lot of people don't even know about. So I am looking forward to sharing those videos or those vlogs with you on the history of the Virgin Islands. So I'd invite anyone who has children who have never been here or probably was born here and they lived the way ever since to tune in and look at those videos. As you would see, there's a video when I went to Water Island also with my nephew, and my business partner's children, where we went to the fort. A lot of people don't even know there's a fort over there on Water Island too. So we went to the fort over there. It's Fort Sagara, and we had fun with the children and teaching them different things and so forth about World War II and so forth. We had fun driving the golf cart and everything too. So it's cool. Water Island is a fun place to go to as well. And if you do come down with your children, try make an effort to go over there with your children, go to the fort and different things as well also. Okay. Next question. Okay, the person said, Roger Cox said, I can answer the Navy stuff for you. It depends on the training mission before they're deployed. Okay, makes sense. All right, so you're paying 30 cents per kilowatt hour and the power is still inconsistent. Oh, yeah. That's a sad thing. We are paying 30 cents, average 30 cents, let's say 35 cents per kilowatt hour, and the power is very inconsistent. It's very sad because we're now in the year 2022 and we're having these issues. Like, come on, these are the same issues that they had 20 plus years ago when I was in high school. You know what I'm saying? By now, you think you would get a hang of it. You know what I'm saying? So something is wrong. Something got to give. Honestly, when I came back down here, I honestly wanted to bring in a wind farm. They lied to me. I gotta have to say because it was a lie. They're gonna say there's no place on St. Thomas where they have a steady 10 to 15 mile per hour winds blowing. I could take you to places right now and show you where's a 10 to 15 mile per hour steady wind blowing. Matter of fact, when you look at a map of the Virgin Islands and so forth, those maps that they give out to tourists, one thing you always see is a windmill. How did they grind the sugar for the sugar cane? You know what I mean? To make it, how did they grind the sugar cane to make sugar and to make the rum and those things? With wind power. So you mean to tell me you don't have enough wind blowing, but they had enough wind for the sugar plantations and stuff? Come on. So anyhow, yeah, man. So these people just want to keep us dependent on fossil fuels, keep us bending over our backs trying to pay these bills and these kind of things when we have renewable energy 24/7, more or less. You know what I'm saying? That's available out there for everybody. I don't believe any island. As a matter of fact, I feel they should look at other islands like Curacao. My mom is from the island of Curacao, which has been using the wind farms for years. You know what I'm saying? Look at them. Look at other places where it's working. Right now, over in Norway, I think one of the countries on the peninsula out there, they're going full renewable energy. They have some wind farms that in the next 5 years, their whole country is going to be renewable energy, and they're going to be selling power to the nearby countries as well. I can't remember which country it is, but I know it's on the Scandinavian peninsula. But I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is. But there's no excuse, honestly. We have wind, we have the waves. You can actually get generators that these things float on top of the water and they spin and they create electricity. It's hydroelectricity. We have so many other alternatives that we could implement right now. But once again, they're trying to keep us down. Sorry, it's sad to say, but it's the truth. But I gonna get ready. I gonna get ready to end the live. So I'm going to be on here for just 5 minutes more. And let me see if I could take the last two questions or one question. Let's see. Where is the best place to trace ancestry in the Virgin Islands? She's doing a family tree. They actually do have a place that does the ancestry thing. I think the place is located up in the Alcohens Mall 2. It's like the buildings that as soon as you come over Rappoon Hill, there are some buildings there where they trace your ancestry and so forth like that. And that's the only place off the top of my head where I knew you could go right now that they actually have been doing that, and a lot of people have gone there to trace their ancestry back and so forth. I don't have to do that because my great uncle did that for me. Y'all have probably heard about Edward Wilmot Blyden, and when you go around, drive around the islands, you will see the name Blyden on certain buildings and so forth. But Edward Wilmot Blyden was my great uncle, and he believed in something called Pan-Africanism, similar to Marcus Garvey, my namesake. And so And yeah, somebody even asked me the other day when I had to give them my ID. They're like, "Your name is Marcus Garvey Blyden." So like, yeah, I have a big name to live up to, and I do believe along the similar lines on the philosophies of Marcus Garvey. Matter of fact, somebody actually even bought me a book when I was younger, The Philosophies of Marcus Garvey, and I've learned so much about Marcus Garvey ever since. But long story short, and he learned a lot from my great uncle, who was Edward Whitmer Blyden, who went ahead, decided a long time ago. He worked with a pastor at the Dutch Reformed Church way back in the days, and he had the pleasure of actually learning and going to college and all that stuff, and was traveled the world over and traces our ancestry all the way back to Nigeria. And so I know where without having to do it, I know where my lineage comes from and so forth. So that's why I have never really looked into doing that, because he kind of did all the work for us and our family and so forth. But it's always a good thing to know where you come from and so forth, and what your lineage is and so forth. Tracing back to, as I say, even more than 400 years ago, which they kind of want to make it seem that's when Black history started. But we are proud people coming from a proud heritage, VI people, as I love to say, man, VI to the world. That's why I always put up my hands and say VI to the world, man. We are proud people. Anywhere we go, man, we stand out to the crowd, and we proud of where we hail from and so forth. So I'd just like to say, it's down to 2 more minutes. I'd just like to say thanks to each and every one of you guys who watched the live tonight. I might try doing at least one live stream per month, see how it goes. Next month I may not be able to do it, as I said, since there's like so many activities going to be happening week after week and so forth. I might not be able to do a live stream, since I'll have so much content coming up for you guys. And I would like to definitely, like you guys, thank you guys, let me say, for the support that you've given me over the years. It's been 2 years going on 3 now. It seems as if every year I get at least 1,000 new subscribers. So hopefully it can start building exponentially from there. And I love bringing you guys the content, man, and I love creating that stuff. It's not easy, you know. It's not easy editing the videos and all that kind of thing. Sometimes it'll get discouraging, but I really loved the encouragement that I get from you guys. Even if you say you like my videos and you are a new subscriber and so forth, I really love the encouragement from you guys. And all I wanted to do once again is say big ups to the VI. Hail up to Miriam. She said she brought her 3 adult children home in 2018 and looking forward to doing another trip soon. Yeah, man. Just come back home. Home is where it's at, man. VI to the world. VI strong. We are stronger together and so forth. So thanks to each and everyone who's been on the live this evening. I'm not sure how much of how the I don't want to say like the bit rate, but hopefully the stream was good. I didn't get to look at it too much. Hopefully it wasn't too choppy. That's another thing that I could discuss on the next live too. The internet connections, you'd be paying a lot of money compared to what you guys pay in the States. I ain't gonna lie, it's like almost $90 for now 50 megabits down and about 20 up. And that just recently changed within the last couple of months. But before we were paying like 90 for 25 megabits, which really sucks, man. And I spoke to somebody from Puerto Rico who said, man, I get 150 down for about $90. I was like, what? Puerto Rico is right over there. Like, I can see Puerto Rico from my house when I go outside. So hopefully that's another thing that they could work on here, because they raping us in the Virgin Islands when it comes to internet, paying for internet and so forth. All right. But just want to say bless up to you guys, VI to the world. Make sure you guys leave your mark on the world. All right. Love you guys. See you guys on the next one. Wow. Peace out.